need to know. I need to know where the escape routes are. I need to know where everything is. I need to be able to predict what people are going to do. I need all that sort of thing. So I need to take control. And as a result of that, I'd actually quite like to initiate contact as well, if you don't mind. I want to be the first to approach you rather than vice versa, because then I know I'm up for it. And then actually what I want from you is to be consistent. Be predictable. Don't come in one day and do one thing and then the following day do something completely different. Makes you look dangerous. So if we can actually do that, remember pillar 4, if we can be predictable and consistent, then what we get is a relationship that works. We get positive encounters with our cats. We look non-threatening, which is good when you think that they're risk assessing all the time. You really do need to look non-threatening. They will feel secure, we will be familiar, and this will be the building blocks of a really good relationship. So, how do we interact with cats? What are we supposed to do around them? And I think really the answer to that lies in the way they interact with each other. And so in studies that have looked at the way cats interact with each other, the findings are that it looks like cats prefer high frequency, so regular dips in and out of relationships, but low intensity. Now that's very interesting, because that's not really our style. We're not really into low intensity. If you remember that first photograph of the woman picking the cat up and kissing it on the lips, yeah, we quite like high intensity stuff. And a really interesting study, which sort of leads me in nicely in a slight way towards the latter part of this presentation, is this one about interactive styles of humans and cats. And I'll just quote here, owners scoring highly for the trait of neuroticism, and by that I mean the personality trait that means you're a bit unpredictable, likely to be anxious, aggressive, you can't really regulate your mood or your responses, sought more contact with their cats, yes, yet had less frequent interaction with them. And the assumption was that that's probably due to the cat's unwillingness to reciprocate. So basically, the more we want from them, the more likely we are to turn them off and for them to withdraw. I don't like the look of that. So let's just look at, well, what is this high frequency, low frequency thing? How many times do I approach my cat from a high frequency perspective or from a low? So here are just a few examples to give you an idea of what I mean when I say high or low frequency, intensity. So let's look at the low. Being in the same room as the cat. Now I think that's fantastic interspecies relationships as far as the cat's concerned. I'm within sight of you, we're not looking at each other, we're doing our own thing, it's safe, and I've got that nice familiar feel about having you around. It's nice low intensity, but it's still interaction, it's low intensity. And then talking to, but talking to is a brief greeting. Hello, end of. That's nice, there's quick contact and then a switch off. That's low intensity, but it's a nice little interaction there. What about sitting beside a cat? Particularly if the cat comes and sits itself beside you. A lot of us would say, oh, lovely, and start tickling and stroking, but what about just sitting with a cat? That's nice. Playing with a cat, using interactive toys, great fun. Now, and then we get slightly higher intensity. Talking to, constantly. Now, the trouble with that is, in order to talk to a cat constantly, you are focusing on the cat. Hello, meow. How are you? Meow. And you get this sort of conversation going on. And the trouble is, the more we talk, the cat's sort of thinking, quite probably, actually, I've finished now. Oh, she's saying it again, meow, meow. And so it goes on, and then you end up with a cat that says, I can't stop meowing. I just meow, meow. I have to do it just to keep on an even keel. So you can see that really that seems great, but that really puts the spotlight on a cat. The cat doesn't like the spotlight. Okay, so that's talking to. What about cat on the lap? Cat comes and sits on the lap. What do we do? Stroke. This is nice. What about not stroking? Now that's still quite sort of high intensity, but the cat's in control of this. Cat said, I want your warmth and I want your smell. That's all I want from you. So that's still the physical contact, but it's not pushing it. And then we get into the petting and stroking. We like that. We don't really understand that cats would prefer us to dip in and out. We like the prolonged nature of it. What about grooming? It's very prolonged for enjoyment. Nice, to a point. Grooming for maintenance, now we're getting really quite high intensity. Grooming for maintenance is about holding and lifting and turning, and the cat suddenly is not quite in so much control. And then, the ultimate heinous crime for some, we pick them up and we hold them. All 4 feet off the ground. How can you escape that? That's going to involve a bit of a struggle. And you say, I am taking away your control in this relationship because I want to kiss you and squeeze you. Just a thought. And also the way we interact will really depend also on the life stage of the cat, what they tolerate, what they demand of us. Kittens, for example, there's going to be much more really explosive interactive play. Kittens jumping all over the place. Sitting on your lap, being cuddled, well, unless they're very, very tired. And then really what kittens want to do when they're tired is just chill and go somewhere quiet to sleep. But sometimes, we want more from them than that. Adults, they want to play less. They may not want to sit on our laps. And yet, when they get to be senior and the geriatric age, then they want to be lap cats, or then they're much more accepting of being in their resting place and being disturbed for us to get our fill of the stroking and the hugging. And interestingly enough, I did a survey, quite some years ago now, in 1995, about elderly cat behaviour. It was an owner survey asking them how their cat's behaviour had changed as they got older. 1,134 cats over the age of 12, so it was a big sample size. Over 80% said that their cats had become more sociable, affectionate, and demanding of attention as they got older. So maybe for some people, if you can think of owners who, potential cat owners who this is what they want from a relationship, the huggy squeezy part and the lap cat part, maybe what they need is an older cat.